Hey y'all, welcome to Navigating a PWI as a Black girl. I'm Imani, and in this series, we're going to be talking about the stuff that a lot of us don't get warned about enough, the culture shock. Being in the PWI enough is so difficult when it comes to fitting in. This series, we're going to break it all down for you incoming freshmen or transfers. We're going to go over the real, raw parts that nobody talks about. And trust me, in this first video, we're going to get into it. Let's start with part one, adjusting to the environment and expectations of college. Let's start off with how it felt like the first week of campus. Right off the bat, I knew it was going to be like high school. I mean, like the way people acted, the way people knew how to present themselves, the way people were either super formal or super distinct. Like it was very obvious that it was going to be way different from what I know from when I'm at home. The classroom energy was weird too. Everyone basically seemed to know how to act, how to speak up, how to sit back. And I was still trying to figure out like what that was about. I also professors have these hidden rules where nobody really tells you how to approach office hours or how to send a professional email, and professors kind of just assume that you already know, no matter what your background is, no matter like what type of high school you went to. Everyone assumes you know how to act and you know how to do things. I personally had to learn how to send an email, how to talk to a professor and stuff really quickly. And I know other people who've had the same experience because of their background or where they came from. So if you go through that, you're not alone. And honestly, what helped me the most was YouTube. So, to kind of touch on representation, there's a lack of it. I mean, just walking into a classroom, I knew right away that there wasn't many of people who looked like me. For instance, I kind of felt invisible, like I had to prove something at the same time as just being in the classroom. Especially like when there's no one who looks like you in your classroom and it's kind of just you and a bunch of other people, it does feel a little bit awkward. Um, and it kind of almost feels like you have to just work harder and just be 10 times better as them. I've only had about two classes where the professor looked like me, and in those classes were the classes where I felt the most comfortable. Honestly, it was almost like I felt like I had to be twice as prepared, twice as polite, three times as quiet, where I just didn't feel like I was being too much in my classes, especially in classes where there was no one who looked like me. Because in some classes, I might have one or two people who may, but it's rare. Okay, hopping over to part two, finding community in safe spaces. So in the beginning, it did kind of feel isolating. When I say isolated, I mean it kind of felt like I didn't know anyone to understand how it really felt. I was very fortunate enough my first like 2 weeks of school to know people before actually starting school through Black Student Union and just generally through social media. My roommate was also amazing. I love her so much. She like dealt with all of my crap, but she was seriously the best freshman roommate I could ask for. But at times when I felt alone and I would go back to the dorm and I would see her there, I would kind of feel more safe than anything. So to my freshman year roommate, if you're watching this, love you so much. Thank you for that. Also, adding on to that, I have an amazing group of friends, a diverse group of friends as well. And because of that, I felt so much more comfortable because of them as well at my school. And they kind of just made my entire freshman year. So, shout out to you guys. Love y'all so much. But to touch on like going to events and stuff, when I would go to events, when I wasn't with my friends, it would feel kind of isolating because I would basically be the only Black girl there. And that kind of sucked. Like I'll go to events and almost feel like an outsider because I smiled and tried to blend in with them, but it didn't feel right, if you know what I'm saying. As I mentioned before, I have an amazing group of friends, an amazing roommate, and I wanted to give some tips to find your people. So, part of that is joining different affinity groups on campus, such as Black Student Union. There's the African Student Association on my campus, but there's also other cultural organizations that you could join that I could promise you're going to find your group. I'm also involved in dance ensemble, which I made amazing friends through there, and those organizations almost became my safe spaces to express myself and meet amazing people. Even if I didn't know them personally, it almost felt like being in a room with people who looked like me or understood what it's like to be black at a PWI. It just made everything better. To add on again, um, when my friend group was forming, it started off with 5 girls. It was me, Halisa, Ashley, Isabel, and Vania. Eventually, it formed into this big, beautiful friend group of like 10, 12 people, and I love them all so much. But over time, I found the friends who didn't just get it, but they've lived it too. They've lived similar experiences to what I've had. It comes down to my friend group. I could vent, I could laugh, I could wear my bonnet around them, I could be loud, I could be quiet. There's no judgment in it, and that's what I love about them so, so much. Honestly, my community saved me point blank. Once I found the people who looked like me, who saw me, who got it, college started to feel like mine too. Okay, part 3. This is the one I wanted to talk about the most: microaggressions from day one. So, for microaggressions in particular, it started early within the first few weeks of school. People would touch my hair without asking, like, hello? Like, why are you touching my hair? But, anyways, people would touch my hair without asking, which I personally do not like whatsoever. That annoys me. Which, if you ask me, if you're curious, that's completely okay. But if you don't and just touch my hair like that, no, don't touch my hair. But also, there was other like academic things, like being the only black girl in a group of all of these amazing, talented people who don't know nothing about me. Like, I've had ideas in my straight up ignored, flat out, completely. And it was good ones too, which is the annoying part. But minus that. Um, Sometimes it's like it was ideas that involved something other than what people were used to, and that's when things kind of were ignored, which is that is what it is. Like, you can't really change that, but that was the experience I went through, and I did not like it at all. Added on to that, like, if I brought it up and one person liked it, but other people didn't like it, I would have to wait for somebody else to bring it up again and say, hey, this was the idea that was brought up earlier. Why don't we just go back to this one? But that was rare, to be honest. Kind of like hopping off of that bandwagon now, I want to talk about professors and how they like to pronounce names wrong, because that's the thing. Um, I was like, up until week 4, a lot of professors got my name wrong. Keep in mind, I just finished my freshman year a few months ago. I've only had 8 professors. Whoa. No. I've only had 10 professors so far. You could guess how many professors has gotten my name wrong, because it's the majority. I've so far had 2 professors who took the time to get my name right the first day. Yeah. The ironic thing is that the first professor was my intro to communications professor, and she actually asked me how to pronounce my name. That was first semester. The second time, when a professor actually asked me how to pronounce my name, was second semester. And that was my intro to Africana Studies professor. You could do the math there. Anyways, for other professors, obviously I don't want to give a number or like names, but most of my professors almost try to, like, week 2 or 3, they would say, "Am I saying it correct?" And I'd be like, "No, it's pronounced Imani." Um, and they eventually would get it right. But there were other professors who just didn't care. They would just say, "Okay, I'm on him," and I would be like, "Here, you didn't even ask." So I'll correct them the first week and then just give up. Unless they ask, In general, with microaggressions, at first I did try to stay quiet and I didn't want to be like labeled as angry or rude or anything. So I just left it alone. But now I try to speak up when I can. Not every time, but I do when it's like for me and not for them. I learned that calling things out is not being dramatic, but it's just setting boundaries. If you're going through this right now, I see you. This series is for us, by us, and I'm still figuring it out too. Comment below a culture shock that you experienced and drop a moment that made you feel like, whoa, this is different. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and keep this conversation going. This is navigating a PWI as a black girl. I'm Imani, and trust me, we're just getting started. Bye.